Billy Walker bought forgotten Speyside Distillery in 2017 and immediately started bottling 15-year sherry bombs for $110 that taste like $200 Macallan. How? Pernod Ricard sold them GlenAllachie with decades of undervalued aged stock they were dumping into Chivas blends.
This ranking reveals which corporate divorces created the best arbitrage opportunities. Like, sub, and drop a comment if you're vibing with the content. 11. Michter's 10-year bourbon. Darling, paying $200 for 94.4 proof bourbon announces you buy allocation scarcity, not palate.
Michter's doesn't own a distillery. They contracted Brown-Forman using likely early times 79-11-10 mash, lower 103 proof barrel entry, heat-cycled warehouses. Bourbon reviewers split hard. Spectacular whiskey, easily best sub 100 proof versus 7.
7 out of 10 ratings saying worth maybe $100, not $200 MSRP. Cask and Point calculated you're paying for theater. At 94 proof, it lacks punch, scoring lower than $100 blind. Red fruit, tobacco, caramel finish, but thin mouthfeel betrays low proof.
Production costs $30-40. 200 MSRP is 500% markup on scarcity psychology. Save $100 and get Knob Creek 15 delivering similar oak at higher proof. 10. Barrell Seagrass Gray Label 16-year. Barrell priced this $250 to $280, knowing niche buyers order filet over ribeye, believing expensive equals superior. 2 groups, 16-year Canadian rye blended with Caribbean rum casks. Cask strength. Bourbon culture demolished it. Least favorite, too thin to justify 3 times the $90 regular Seagrass price. Shrewd marketing recognized customers wanting $250 flex bottles, so they created a premium line, not because the liquid justifies it, but positioning demanded it. YouTube calculated components cost $150 to $200 in single form, making $250 very bad value. Secondary hit $425 to $450, proven allocation overrides quality. Bright citrus, crisp apple, 16-year oak, but it's just slightly better than $90 Seagrass, not 180% better. Drink if you bought for Instagram, or admit regular Seagrass delivers 85% for 36% of cost. 9. From the barrel. Dirtiest secret in Japanese whiskey. Nikka removed Japanese whiskey designation 2021 after revealing coffee grain might not be from Japanese distilleries. Paper says 40% single malt from Miyagikyo/Yoyochi and 60% coffee grain, aged 10 years, married 3 to 6 months, 51.4% ABV. But Nikka admitted malt is Japanese, while grain might not be. Ben Nevis, Scotland suspected, meaning this Japanese whiskey could be 60% Scottish grain. Whiskey advocate debates raged. Nikka has more oomph versus Yamazaki 12 has more complexity, with price jumping $65 California to $100 nationwide. Controversy tore community. Purists call it fraud. Pragmatists argue it tastes great regardless. Asahi revenue topped $18 billion 2024, but sourcing transparency remains opaque. Excellent blended whiskey that may not be Japanese, or stick to clearly labeled single malts if origin matters. 8. Knob Creek 15-year. Beam launched this 2020 at 100 proof, and every veteran immediately said the 12-year is better value, sparking endless debates. KC002 batch shows pronounced oak that 9 and 12-year already exhibit. 3 more years just amplified tannins without proportional complexity. Blind verdict from Breaking Bourbon. I like the 12 better than the 15 because extended aging crossed into over-oak territory. Multiple tasters agreed. Hidden gem reality. Find Knob Creek 12-year cask strength store picks, $60 to $70. Easily my favorite Knob Creek, outperforming the 15 at higher proof for less. Beam pushed 15-year as premium, but market rejected $100 to $120 when 10-year delivers 90% for $60.
Rich oak dominant, sweet tobacco, vanilla, but given time to breathe, it turns complex, defending critics. Ranked 8 because despite quality, better value exists lower in lineup. Serve with 15-minute oxidation opening dense oak, or save money and get 12-year cask strength pick.
7. Yellow Spot 12-year. Pernod Ricard charges $120 to $140 when Green Spot costs $60 to $75, delivering 85% of experience. Spot range uses single pot still, malted and unmalted barley, aged in bourbon, sherry, Malaga casks. Yellow adds 12-year statement versus Green's NAS. Whiskey Magazine blind comparison concluded yellow unsurprisingly better, but similarity between Green Spot and Black Barrel pretty close. Premium isn't proportional to price gap. Green was responsible for Irish category resurgence. Originally 10-year, now NAS ubiquitous, while yellow commands 2x for modest improvement. Pernod Ricard revenue topped $12 billion 2024, extracting maximum margin from spot segmentation. Yellow has best nose. Taste more complex with Oloroso sherry, but surprised how close Green Spot and Jameson Black Barrel were. Ranked 7 because legitimately better than Green, but value-conscious should buy 2 green bottles for 1 yellow. Serve neat, tasting premium Irish pot still, or buy Green and spend savings on Red Spot comparison. 6. Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Barrel Proof Tennessee Cask Strength that whiskey forums can't agree on. Regular SBBP versus store pick battle rages with zero consensus. Brown-Forman bottles whatever proof comes out, typically 125 to 135, versus regular single barrel cut to 94. Store picks add bottle necklace, charging $5 to $10 premium. Comparison revealed difference in mouthfeel staggering. Single barrel very watery after barrel proof, barely there, and barrel proof gains buttery taste, almost like caramel corn. But store pick versus regular showed minimal difference beyond proof. Every bottle of Jack SBBP I've had is good. Don't think you can go wrong. Hidden Gem costs $65 to $80, delivering legitimate barrel-proof Tennessee when allocated bourbons chased $200 secondary. Brown-Forman revenue exceeded $3.8 billion 2024, but SBBP remains available, proving scarcity isn't prerequisite for quality. Single barrel variation means every bottle different, but consistency stays high. Enjoyed the video? Smash that like button and sub so you never miss a drop. 5. Redbreast 12 Cask Strength. Irish Distiller's flagship cask strength, 57-58% ABV, generating defense from fans versus critics questioning whether higher proof equals better. Technical reality, cask strength doesn't automatically mean superior. Distillers marry filling strength to cask because extraction varies. Identical casks at different ABVs produce markedly different profiles. Thick, oily mouthfeel. Punchy toffee, wood/spices, cinnamon graham cereal, apple crumble, pear syrup, oak bark. Mid-palate favors sherry with dried fruits, milk chocolate, built-in pepper. Adding water, counterintuitive after paying for proof, unlocks toffee popcorn, cashews, buttered cream, nougat, red berries. Distiller reviews said for additional $10, grab Listowel edition, enhancing already fantastic pour. Pernod Ricard positions $110-$20 versus regular $12 at $60, capturing enthusiasts willing to pay for intensity. Ranked 5 because legitimately excellent, but requires water experimentation, and Standard 12 satisfies 80% of drinkers. Serve neat initially, then add water incrementally, typically 1:3 or 1:4 ratio, opening complexity. 4. Bunnahabhain 12 Cask Strength. Islay's Rebel making unpeated whiskey when everyone expects smoke. Owned by Distill Group, producing cask strength whiskey advocate calls better than many €100 bottles.
2022 edition generated cult following. Signatory vintage bottled Secret Orkney 16-year ex-sherry 64% ABV, $125. But Bunnahabhain 12 CS delivers comparable sherry bomb, $80-90. Independent bottlers prove major distilleries dump excellent casks into third-party channels, maintaining brand pricing while monetizing overflow. Distill revenue approached $2 billion before Heineken 2023 acquisition, but Bunnahabhain remains under-leveraged versus Lagavulin/Ardbeg Islay siblings.
Rich sherry influence, dried fruits, chocolate, maritime salinity without peat. Thick viscosity, 55 to 58% ABV intensity, 70-80 second finish. Whiskey connoisseur defended $100, saying, law of diminishing returns. Are $100 bottles 40% better? Not likely, but marginally better.
Rank 4 because it challenges Islay's peat reputation while delivering sherry complexity at fraction of Macallan pricing. Serve neat, appreciating unpeated Islay character.
3. Old Forester 1924. Brown-Forman's forgotten premium that bourbon experts say most would argue $115 is too much, yet it represents 115-plus years Old Forester legacy, bottled 108 proof. 1924 Whiskey Row Series commemorates Prohibition when Old Forester had medicinal whiskey permit, but modern perception questions whether history justifies premium. Uses 72, 18, 10 mash, lower corn than competitors 75 to 78%, barrels 125 proof, ages 8 to 10 years, bottles 108 proof, no age statement.
Controversy. Bardstown Discovery 11 costs similar $120, $130, receiving more acclaim. Old Forester 1920 at $60 delivers comparable profile, making 1924's premium questionable. Multiple bartenders recommended 1920 over 1924, citing value disparity. Brown-Forman revenue top 3, $8 billion 2024, but 1924 remains under-leveraged, creating hidden gem through obscurity, not intentional scarcity. Rich caramel vanilla, oak tannins, banana bread from house yeast, chocolate baking spice, 108 proof warmth, 65-75 second finish.
Rank 3 because despite being overlooked, it delivers 12-year character $115 when allocated bottles chase $200 plus, but buy 1920 instead. Make old-fashioned honoring medicinal whiskey loophole that saved American whiskey during 1920s.
2. Bardstown Discovery Series 11. Bardstown launched 2016 with contract distilling, then pivoted to transparency about blending sourced whiskey from multiple states. Discovery showcases this, 130 to 150.
Breaking Bourbon calls it obvious choice in $100 to $150 range because each batch publishes exact provenance. Discovery 11 blends Kentucky, Tennessee, Indiana stocks with varying ages, 10 to 15 years, mash bills, finishing techniques. Controversy. This is NDP Craft that built $50 million distillery 2016, but still sources 80% discovery juice from MGP, Dickel, undisclosed Kentucky partners. Critics call expensive sourced whiskey. Defenders argue blending expertise and transparency justify premium. Bardstown's model disrupts traditional narrative. They contract distill for 50-plus brands while releasing own, creating vertical integration without decades aging stock.
Discovery rotates every 6 months, preventing reviews from predicting current batch, forcing trust in Bardstown's blending versus known commodities.
Liquid varies, but typically rich fruit, oak complexity from 10-plus year components, layered spice, sherry/wine finishing, 100 to 115 proof, 80 to 90 second finish. Whiskey enthusiasts specifically named Discovery 11 as best $100 to $150, suggesting this batch hit sweet spot. Rank 2 because it challenges bourbon's obsession with single distillery heritage, proving blending mastery and transparency justify premium better than marketing mythology. Serve neat, tasting multi-state terroir blending. Agree or disagree?
Let me know below and hit subscribe to stay in the loop. 1. GlenAllachie 15-year. All premium whiskey is temporary illusion, and GlenAllachie proves it, delivering $150 quality for $110 to $130 through obscurity, not hype.
Billy Walker bought this Speyside from Chivas 2017, immediately pivoted from supplying blenders to releasing single malts. Shocked industry, outperforming heritage brands blind.
Whiskey Advocate specifically recommends GlenAllachie 15 and 10-year cask strength in $150 range because Walker's sherry program rivals Macallan at 40% of price.
Strategic genius, GlenAllachie operated 1967-2017 as workhorse for Chivas blends, accumulating massive aged stock. Then Walker acquired, gaining access to 15-25-year casks at fraction of value because Chivas prioritized Glenlivet Aberlour. This is arbitrage through consolidation. Pernod Ricard divested non-core assets. Walker capitalized on undervalued matured stock.
Rich Pedro Ximenez and Oloroso Soloroso sherry, dark chocolate, raisins, figs, coffee, toffee, thick viscosity from minimal filtration, 46% ABV weight, natural color, proves no E150A added, 75 to 85 second finish with sherry oak balance.
Independent bottlers can't touch this value because buying 15-year casks from brokers costs $8,000 to $12,000 per cask, yielding 200 to 250 bottles, meaning $32 to $48 liquid cost before bottling/marketing. GlenAllachie owns stock outright, eliminating broker premium.
Scotch experts call this excellent when Macallan 15 cost $200 plus, delivering similar profile. Ranked 1 because it represents perfect hidden gem, overlooked distillery, strategic acquisition timing, mature stock arbitrage, transparency, and liquid challenging established premiums.
Liberation. Once you taste GlenAllachie 15 beside Macallan 15, you realize brand heritage adds $80 to $100 without proportional quality. Serve neat, appreciating sherry bomb without paying Macallan tax, or compare with GlenDronach 15, understanding both prioritize sherry over marketing.